The second general session of the UVA-Wise FBLA Fall Conference will now come to order. Today we celebrate Napoleon Hill Day and welcome to the stage Mr. Scott Hohen, Director of the Napoleon Hill Scholars of UVA-Wise. He represents his love and work for students, especially of the Napoleon Hill Day Scholars. He enjoys the outdoors and learning new things. Please and welcome this enthusiastic guest.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to UVA-Wise and welcome to Napoleon Hill Day. We're glad to have you here. Hopefully all of you FBLA members, when your time comes, you're going to come visit us over at UVA-Wise, become one of the Cavalier family, and apply for one of these scholarships. So how many of y'all think you want to do that? Would like a scholarship to go to school at UVA-Wise? Give me some claps here. All right, come on, louder than that. Let's go. All right, there you go. So it's going to continue learning those things that you're already working on in FBLA and put you in a better chance of even greater success. Now I would like to introduce to you the 2019-2020 Napoleon Hill Scholars. Unfortunately, they were not all able to attend at this particular time. Many of them were busy taking tests and other things that college requires of them. So I will introduce them all, and for the ones that are not here, the ones that are here, please stand up. And for the ones that are not, they won't be standing up. You understand, right? All right, so Mary Akinosi, she's from Fairfax, Virginia. Mary's busy taking an exam. She emailed me, and it was a very big exam. She could not make it. Logan Baker. Logan, please stand. There's our very own Logan Baker. He is from Clintwood, Virginia. Okay. Olivia Baker. Olivia is also told me she's taking a test. She's from Gate City. She's one of the Napoleon Hill Scholars. Sydney Bates is here. Sydney, please stand. She's from Wise, Virginia. Let's see, Mackenzie Clay. I didn't see Mackenzie. I don't think so. Mackenzie couldn't make it either. All these folks are busy in school taking tests. I guess you all understand that. Evan Davis. Evan Davis is here. He's from Floyd. Okay. See who else? Catherine Dina. She's from Remington. Sarah Dotson. I just saw Sarah. There she is, right in the front row. Sarah Dotson is here. She's from Wise as well. Daniel England is from Wise, but he's not able to attend either today. He's actually student government president, is that correct? SGA or something? No, he's not. He sent me something with SGA, said that he has to do something, so unfortunately he's not here today. Olivia Fast. Olivia, she's here. She's from Pound, Virginia. Emily Helbert. Emily is here, and she's from Lebanon. The loud school, the one that was doing all the cheering up there, okay? Yes, they had that cheer going really good, didn't they? Let's see here. Connor Jesse from Fredericksburg. Connor's here. He's been a scholar for a couple years. Peyton Johnson, everybody's favorite person. He's from... I told you he was everybody's favorite person. I think he knows everybody at school there. Joshua McRae, our very own Joshua McRae is right here. He's from Wise, Virginia as well. Ray Pond, she's here from Roanoke. Where's Ray? There's Ray Pond, our very own. Brittany Stapleton. I did not see Brittany. Anybody see Brittany around? No? Didn't see Brittany. Talina Turner. Talina, please stand up. She's from, I never get this right. I'm new here, so it's Hasey.
Hayside.
Hayside. Woo! It's Hayside. Okay, sorry. And Kristen Coleman, I made her go last. She's from Abingdon. So anyway, folks, these are the 2019-2020 Napoleon Hill Scholars. We appreciate all of the Foundation's support and help. I'm sure these students appreciate it very much. And we would like to see all of you folks, when you come to UVA-Wise to enhance your career and educational opportunities, when you get a chance, please apply for the scholarship. And hopefully you'll be a winner just like these folks right here. All right, folks. Thank you very much.
Mr. Don Green, a former banker, has been Executive Director of the Napoleon Hill Day Foundation since 2000. Mr. Green originated the Keys of Success course based on Napoleon Hill's principles of success. He has traveled worldwide to teach Hill success philosophy. it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Don Green, Executive Director and Vice President of Napoleon Hill Foundation. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Don Green.
Thank you, Ellie. Thank you very much. We appreciate Chancellor Henry and the college for being such a host. It's been each year, and also the FBLA officers sharing their stage with us. We appreciate it very much. First, I'd like to recognize the trustees of the Napoleon Hill Foundation who serve the nonprofit and have been for many years. Michael Battle, Bob Johnson, Jim Olson, Bill Freitas, and Dr. J.D. Hill. And we also have so many guests, I'm not going to mention them. I can't mention all of them. I got Shatisha's family from Canada here, Polly from Nigeria, but I got people from all over, and I don't want to slide it up, but I always welcome the Hill family. I understand Glenn, Napoleon's only first cousin, still living. He's 100. I interviewed him on July the 5th, his 100th birthday, but he couldn't make it. But do have his two daughters and his son-in-law with us today. And we always appreciate it. He's came for about 20 years. He's never mentioned any. He's so interesting to talk to. He remembers Napoleon. He'll say he always drove a big car and had a little dog, and he's always well dressed. So he knew Napoleon pretty well. At this time, I would like to Ellie to come up. We have a proclamation issued by the governor. They've always saw fit to declare it Napoleon Hill Day in the state of Virginia. So if she could read the proclamation for us. Ellie.
This certificate of recognition states, whereas Napoleon Hill was born on October 26, 1883 in Wise County, Virginia, and whereas Napoleon Hill is known throughout the world as one of the earliest writers of the modern genre of personal success literature, for writing countless quotes and famous speeches, and for helping others lead more productive and satisfying lives. And whereas Napoleon Hill's writings outline a philosophy of success, and that includes the importance of clear goals, focused determination, persistence, ethical dealings with others, and maintaining a positive attitude. And whereas Napoleon Hill has influenced innumerable leaders and citizens working in various fields across our nation and across the world to strive their goals and achieve success. And whereas Napoleon Hill, a Southwest Virginia native, exemplified Virginia values such as hard work, commitment, and purposeful living. And whereas the Commonwealth of Virginia is pleased to recognize Napoleon Hill for his philosophy of leadership, self-motivation, and individual achievements. Now, therefore, this is Ralph Northam. I, Ralph S. Northam, do hereby recognize October 26, 2019 as Napoleon Hill Day in our Commonwealth of Virginia. And I call this observance to our attention of all citizens.
That's very neat of the governor, and I'd like to thank my friend Jack Kennedy for following up and seeing that gets done each year. Jack's a tremendous success story. He was in my first class, by the way. I won't say how many years ago, but a long, long time ago. He was in the first class, and he uses the principles, and he's been a great promoter. There's only two ways that we learn. One of them is through the books we read, and the other is the people we associate with. So if you're not a reader, you're behind already. I've been fortunate in my almost 79 years to be associated with some of the brightest people, most successful people on earth, and they are all avid readers, and I could name the list, but some of them are here. I won't embarrass anybody, but that's one. So if you're not a reader, and I mean the list is a mile long, and people like to go on and on that read our material. There's people like Steve Harvey, Billy Ray Cyrus, you name it, they've read our books. I share a little bit with you the things I've learned over the years, and I call them my 5 Ps. And the first one was starting out with purpose. We have to have a purpose in life. He'll define the starting point of all achievement. The Bible tells us we must find our purpose in life. And that's the starting point. The second one is plans. Napoleon Hill told us about making plans. Most people spend more time planning their vacation than they do their life. And again, from the good book, it says if you're going to build a building, sit down and devise a plan. If you want to be a medical doctor, you got to make some preparation. You can't just show up one day with a scalpel in your hand and say, I'm a surgeon. It takes a lot of plans, preparations. And one of them is passion. What we do, I saw it. My daughter and I was at Grove Park Inn a few weeks ago, and Albert Hubbard, one of the people we read, he had a quote painted on the fireplace. It said, if you can't find passion in your work, you'll never find happiness in your life. And I think that's true. The other, and Walter Chrysler, he said to us, he said, nothing great he ever saw in life happened without enthusiasm, and we call it passion. But the other one of the qualities of the 4th P is persistence. Steve Jobs, if you read his bio, I know all you young people know who Steve Jobs is, or you should with the Apple phone. He said the qualities that it meant the most to him was persistence. And once he had an idea, he pursued it until he accomplished what he was setting out for. And that's the 4 of them. And the 5th one, if you follow all those things, you can call it you're going to get productivity. In other words, you're going to get the answer you're seeking if you follow those steps. And the other way you're going to learn, besides what we've learned in books, is like I get my pleasure to introduce our speaker today. He's a young gentleman from Canada, and he simply runs the largest tutoring service in the world. 20,000 people. And what they do is young people that are deficiency, and it doesn't matter what language it is, they go into their home, they have people go into their home and get them up to what we'd say snuff, get them back on track. And it's a growing business. It's called Tutor Bright. They're the largest tutoring service, as I said, in the world. And they have repeat businesses in the family. I asked how it happens. They said, well, lots of times the husband's got a high-profile job, maybe the wife does. First thing you know, their children are behind in their lessons, and they get in touch with Tutor Bright. And Sonny, he's written, he's doing a book, he's been Wall Street Journal, Reader's Digest, he's been all over the Canadian television networks explaining what service they serve. And I'm sure the young people, he's been with you, and so young people, it's always an adult life, and I think you'll enjoy the message, and you'll appreciate hearing from him. So it's my pleasure to introduce Sonny Verma from Canada.
Don, that was such a beautiful introduction. Thank you. Thank you to the entire board and trustees of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Thank you to Chancellor Henry, and thank you everybody here today at the University of Virginia at Wise. It is with great honor. Yeah, let's have a round of applause. Let's give a round of applause. Thank you. It's with great honor I was asked to take this podium today. You see, Napoleon Hill is my mentor. He's a man who changed my life. He is the reason why my family got out of personal bankruptcy. My father took this stage last year and explained that story. He's the reason why I started my company. Think and Grow Rich is a book I give to every single one of my employees, and we just started to give it to every single one of our students. And he's the reason why my company is where it's at today. So, I am so grateful. I am so honored that I was asked to do the keynote address and give a tribute to Napoleon Hill, my mentor. So just like Napoleon Hill, I've dedicated my entire adult life to raising the self-esteem and self-worth of the next generation. And as an education expert and a self-esteem expert, I always get this one question. I'm always asked, Sonny, what do schools need to teach? So let me tell you the answer. You see, at schools, we teach the math, the sciences, the languages, the arts, but what we don't teach is how to think big. Let me explain what I mean. Every time I come across a new student, I do this fun icebreaker. I do this get to know you with them. I ask them 2 questions and only 2 questions. The first question I ask them is, what do you want to be when you're older? We've all been asked this question before, right? So I get basic answers. I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a nurse, a cop, blah, 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 blah. It's the same things I said when I was growing up, and it's probably the same things you said when you're growing up. Now I take the kid, and I ask them the second question. It's a question they've never, ever heard before. I say, in my hand is a magic pill. If you swallow this magic pill, you will become great at anything. What would you become great at? Now they stand up straight, their eyes widen, there's excitement in their voice, and they say, I'd cure cancer, I'd become the president, I would change the world. It's amazing. I get access to every youth's ambition. But amongst that, there's a really sad underlying story. I asked the exact same kid, pretty much the exact same question. I said, what do you want to be when you're older? And if you could be great at anything, what would you be? Yet the answers were distinctly different. Why do we suppress our hopes and our dreams and ambitions at a young age? Let me tell you. When I do this magic pill question with the student, their parents, their advisors, their teachers come to me and they say, that's amazing you got my child talking about their future. But we'd love it if you could just tone it down a little bit. Tone it down? Why would I tone it down? Well, we kind of want to protect them. We really don't want to get their hopes up. You don't want to get their hopes up? What direction do you want your hopes to go? In this world that we live in, there's only 2 directions your hopes can go, up or down. And this isn't just for children. This is for all of us adults. How many of us have suppressed our hopes, our dreams, ambitions as adults? How many of us never actually go for our dreams? We settle for plan B because we're told our dreams are nearly impossible. So, what we have to teach our children, more importantly, what we have to teach ourselves, the next time somebody tells you something is nearly impossible, the next time somebody tells you your dreams are nearly impossible, you tell them, I'm going to focus on the nearly, and you can focus on the impossible. Because in the sliver of nearly is where the magic of life happens. In the sliver of nearly is where we practice the works of Napoleon Hill. So today, let me take you on a journey of my life and the 6 lessons that Napoleon Hill has bestowed upon me. Lesson number 1, remove all your mental limitations. When I was 11 years old, my father put a poster at the back of my wall that said entrepreneurship, creating something where there was nothing there before. That was my magic pill. That's what I always wanted to be, was an entrepreneur. Fast forward, I graduated with my master's degree. I didn't follow my dreams. I didn't take my magic pill. Instead, I conformed. I did what everybody told me to do, and that was get a job. And when you have a master's degree, you don't just get a job, you have to get a job with a fancy title. So I became a management consultant. Let me tell you, fancy title, really, really crappy job. I just didn't have the case of the Mondays on Mondays. And if you aren't aware of what the case of the Mondays mean, it means you wake up every Monday wondering how the heck are you going to get through this week. I had the case of the Mondays every single day of the week. So in those dark moments, I picked up the book Think and Grow Rich, just to get a glimmer of hope. And serendipity called. My friend asked me to tutor her younger sister who was failing grade 12 English. Because she was failing grade 12 English, she had a revolving door of educators in her life, but nothing seemed to be working. And because nothing was working, she became the black sheep of her family. She took the label of that she was never ever going to go anywhere in her life. So I agreed to help her. Let me tell you about my first interaction with her, because this interaction changed my life. We met in a grand library, probably one similar to what you guys have here. I remember walking in, I was extremely nervous because I never tutored before. I saw her in the distance and I sat down beside her and I introduced myself. And this is what she said. Hi, Sonny, nice to meet you, but I have no idea what you're doing here. I look confused back and I say, well, I'm here to be your tutor. Yeah, that never works. I look back at her and I say, well, maybe you got some English assignments, maybe you got an essay to write, perhaps there's something we can work on. And she looked back at me, and I'll never forget what she said. She said, like I said, I don't know what you're doing here. I can't even write. I start sweating from my armpits, my heart's beating 1,000 beats per minute, thinking, what do? This person that's in grade 12 English claims he can't even write. I'm here to tutor them. I think for a moment, it felt like eternity. There was a pen in my pocket. I hand it to her. I take a notepad out of my backpack and I give it to her. I look at her, I try to sound as confident as possible, and I say, can you write you can't write? She looks at me confused, reluctantly picks up the pen, begins to write the statement out. And as soon as she's done, I grab the pad of paper out of her hand and I hold it up. And I say, ha, you obviously can write because you just wrote, I can't write. And she laughed. I said, there's a sad underlying lesson here though. You always could write. You've given credit to a physical disability that doesn't even exist. You've been taught it's better to never try than to try and fail. But if you don't try, you fail by default. And every single human accomplishment in this world, you know what it starts with? It starts with a single act of trying. What if you just tried? Where would your life be if you just tried? A tear dripped from her face. She got up, walked around the table. She gave me one of the most warm hugs I've ever received and said, you're right, let's do this. So we started to meet on a weekly basis and her grades started to skyrocket. We didn't work on English, we worked on her mindset. And she felt great. After one of our tutoring sessions, something wasn't sitting right in my stomach. I was walking to my car and I felt this anxiety, this agony, and I couldn't put my finger on it what it was. I remember I opened my car door, I sat in my seat, rolled down the window to get some fresh air, and it hit me. I'm a hypocrite. I don't practice what I preach. You see, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and now I knew the type of company I'd want. I'd want to start a company that gives a gift of self-esteem through academics. Yet, every single time I think about it, I feel like I'm between a rock and a hard place. You know when you feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place? You know that feeling? Because I had bills to pay, I had student loans that were due, I had rent that I owed. I felt like every time I thought about my company, I was hitting wall after wall after wall. And then it all clicked. The only time I've honestly ever hit a wall is when I went for a run outside, I looked at my phone and actually slammed into a wall. The only time I'd ever be between a rock and a hard place is if I went mountain climbing and a boulder falls on my back, then I'd be between a rock and a hard place. You see, in this world, as humans, we're bound by the laws of gravity. We are held down by gravity. But our dreams have no gravity. The only thing that holds down your dreams is your own mental limitations. Trust me when I tell you this. To all the new graduates, trust me when I tell you this. There is no rock holding you down, so keep on climbing. There is no wall that you're going to hit, so keep on running. Lesson number 2. Marry your dreams. We've all been to a wedding, and one of the most beautiful parts of the wedding is when the couple stands at the altar, they look each other eye to eye, hold each other hand in hand, and they begin to tell each other their vows. They say, I will take you through thick and thin, through good and bad, through sickness and health, till death do us part. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. What a beautiful affirmation of love. But here's the reality. It's not till death do you part. 50% of these people will get divorced. 50% of these people will end their relationship. Do you know who you can never divorce? Do you know the one person that you're going to have to be with for the rest of your life? Do you know who you can never end a relationship with? Yourself. So doesn't that beg the question? Have you given yourself the same vows? Have you accepted yourself through thick and thin, through good and bad, through sickness and health, through fat and skinny, through good looking and ugly, through having it all and having nothing? Have you accepted yourself? And if you haven't, today, go home and write your vows to yourself and read them daily because they will serve as a reminder to the most important marriage of your life. And that's the marriage to your future, that's the marriage to your dreams. You have to marry your dreams. You have to make the exact same commitment to your dreams. You have to accept your dreams through every adversity and through every success, because let me tell you something, every dream that you're ever going to want to achieve will be met with adversity after adversity after adversity. There's times that you're going to want to give up, there's times you're going to want to throw in the towel, and there's times that you're going to wonder, why did you start this in the first place? And in those moments, Go back to your vows. Remember your vows. You chose this. Through thick and thin, through good and bad, through everything, you chose this. When you marry your dreams, you read and write your vows every day. When you marry your dreams, you divorce your doubt. When you marry your dreams, you stop cheating on your future with your excuses. Lesson number 3, love yourself. Let me explain this through analogy. Let's say there's a set of twins born that look identical in every single way. They have the exact same facial features, the exact same eye color, the exact same hair, the exact same body type. But there's one distinct difference. Their parents chose to love one more than the other. Which one's more likely to be happy? Which one's more likely to be successful? Which one do you think is going to have a more fulfilling life? I think we all know the answer is pretty easy. The one that was given more love in the first place, right? You see, in this world, there's only 3 ingredients that we need to survive. We need sunlight, we need water, and we need love. If you want sunlight, go outside. If you want water, turn on your tap. If you want love, well, whoa, love is rare. The way we express love is through language. So let me ask you, what words do you use to describe yourself? At one point, we were all toddlers learning how to walk. If you ever get to see somebody learning how to walk, it's one of the most beautiful things. They stumble, they fall, they pick themselves back, they get bruises along the way, and they do this all with a smile on their face. One thing I'm absolutely certain of, that when people are learning how to walk, they're giving themselves a lot of positive affirmations. They're giving themselves a lot of positive self-talk. But for one brief moment, let's think about if they didn't give themselves positive affirmations. Let's think of the reverse. Let's think, what if they gave themselves negative self-talk? Imagine when somebody's learning how to walk, they fall over, they stumble, they collect bruises, and they say, oh, there I go again. I always knew I was going to fail, I should have never even started. If that was a language we gave ourselves when we were learning how to walk, I guarantee you, we'd all be on crutches. We'd all be handicapped. So doesn't this beg the question, what is a conversation that you have with yourself in the pursuit of your dreams? What is a conversation that you have with yourself when you're learning to pursue your dreams? When you stumble on your way to your dreams? When you fall over on your way to your dreams? I can guarantee you, it's probably not nearly as positive when you're learning how to walk. Perhaps we don't even know it, but we put our dreams on crutches. Perhaps we don't even know it, but we handicapped our dreams. You see, in this life, we need to learn to love ourselves. I teach kids about positive affirmations. That's part of my curriculum. Positive affirmations. I get them to repeat it over and over and over again until it's ingrained in their memory. And their parents always come to me and they say, wow, that's so great, you got my child to talk about how much they love themselves. I wish somebody did that to me when I was that young. I always go to the parent and say, well, it's never too late to start. Oh no, I can't do this. I've tried it, this doesn't work for me. Trust me, when you look in the mirror and you don't say something positive, you're still saying something. A negative affirmation is still an affirmation. You see, kindness and love are 2 ingredients that we have to give to ourselves. If you give yourself kindness and love, you will link your dreams and your destiny. Lesson number 4, persistence. Persist, persist, persist. This is my favorite chapter in Think and Grow Rich. When I realized I wasn't between a rock and a hard place, and when I realized there was no walls I was going to run into, I quit my job. I figured out very fast I couldn't afford rent in my nice condo, so I moved into one of the lowest social classes in the city and knocked on every single door there to tell them I was the new tutor in town. And when I ran out of doors to knock on, I stood outside Walmart, you know, those sliding doors, and then while parents would walk in, I'd say, hi, do you need a tutor? I did this for hours. And then Walmart's manager would come out and kick me out of their lot. I'd go to my car, instead of feeling sorry for myself, you know what I did? I drove to the next Walmart and did it again. And then eventually, Walmart's manager would come out again and kick me out of their lot. And you know what I did? I drove to another Walmart and did it again. And what I'm really, really grateful for, you know what it is? Is that my city has a lot of Walmarts. You see, I always get asked, was knocking on doors hard? If you have knuckles, if you've been blessed with knuckles, you can knock on doors. And I know the alternative as well. You want to know it's a lot harder than knocking on doors? Having the case of the Mondays, dreading every Monday. Mondays are 1/7 of your life. When you are on your deathbed, what would you give for 1/7 of your life? everything. You will give everything. And then you could say, well, I have the other days of the week. Let me tell you what we do with the other days of the week. Let's say you're lucky enough to sleep 8 hours. You're lucky enough to work 8 hours. It takes you an hour to get to and from work, and it takes you an hour to get ready. That is 18 hours of your day. That is 75% of your day. That's 75% of your life. That's 75% of your life doing something that doesn't make you happy. This is a definition of crazy. And you can say, I have the other 25%. Let me tell you about the other 25%, because this used to be me. Oh, I just want to go home and Netflix and chill. I want to go home and be a couch potato. I want to go home and veg out. I want to turn on the TV and veg out. Do you know the definition of a human vegetable? It's a mindless, numbless person in a coma, and this is what we say to ourselves. So next time you think about persistence, next time you think about the doors that you have to knock on and the work that you have to do to achieve your dreams, remember, if you persist, there's a beauty at it. You will never, ever have the case of the Mondays. Lesson number 5, optimism and faith. We all have friends who wear glasses. Perhaps you wear them yourself. What happens when you get a speck of dirt on your glass? You take it off, you quickly wipe it clean, you put it back on your face in order to see clearly for the rest of your day. But what happens when you get a speck of negativity on your mind? What happens when you get a speck of doubt or a speck of fear on your mind? How come we don't have the same rapid reaction to remove that? Let me tell you why. The only way you clean the lens of your mind is by replacing the lens with one of optimism and faith. We all, when we were just young kids, were told that there's no reason to be scared of the dark. The boogeyman and the monsters in our closet are just made up. They're part of our imagination. And as we became adults, we're not scared of a room that isn't lit. We are scared of a life that isn't lit. Because a dark life is one that's filled with doubts and fears. But let me tell you something. Your doubts and your fears are just like the boogeyman. They're just like the monsters in your closet. They are your imagination. They are actors. They are characters that you have made up in your mind. And the role that they play and how well that they play them is up to you to decide. It's your imagination. Faith. Faith is critical. Faith is knowing the unknown. It's having clarity with the lack of clarity. It is being certain in uncertainty. When you adopt this lens of faith and optimism in your life, you will rise much higher, you will see much clearer, and I promise you, you will never, ever be scared of the dark. Lesson number 6. This is my favorite lesson of all. Gratitude. Gratitude. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with an illness that I didn't think I'd be alive today. And I vowed at that moment that if I ever get to live, if I ever recover, I will live a life filled with gratitude. And I'm so happy to say, I've never been healthier, I've never been happier, and I'm fully recovered. This past summer, I was enjoying a piece of watermelon with my friend. And for those of you who don't know what a watermelon is, you're missing out. A watermelon is this giant green fruit. It looks so beautiful from the outside. It's like a green zebra. It's light green, dark green, light green, dark green, and then you cut it down the middle. And you don't think it could be any more beautiful, but it is. It's this pink and vibrant, and it has these little black dots that are seed that clash so perfectly with it. It's so beautiful you don't even want to take a bite, but then you take a bite and you're like, oh my, what did I just bite into? This is so delicious. It feels like the juices from the heavens that like soothe your insides, and you can taste, and you're so grateful for your taste buds, and you can breathe because you're alive. This exact same conversation I said in front of my friend while I was enjoying a piece of watermelon. I'll never forget what he said to me. He said, Sonny, since you've recovered, you always talk about food and breath the exact same way. But I gotta be honest with you. You can't always do this. Why can't I always do this? Well, you're gonna breathe probably at least 1 billion times before you die. You're gonna eat millions of meals, and you're gonna have a lot of different bites. So, sometimes you're just going to get caught in life. You can't always be this grateful. Let's take what he said for a second. I can't always be this grateful because of the frequency of my breath and food. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt like you were taken for granted? Right? What does that even mean? It means perhaps you've given more than you received. Perhaps you've given so much that you never really received the thanks for it. Isn't that a relationship to life? Isn't that a relationship to our breath? Isn't that a relationship to food? Just because it's so frequent, it's so often, it happens all the time, we take it for granted. Just because it's so abundant and it's so nurturing and so giving, we don't act like it's last, because let me tell you, one day it will be. And the things we say we get caught up in life about, the fight with our spouse or significant other, running late to a meeting, getting a bad email, whatever it is, these things are infrequent. They're few and far between. They rarely ever happen. And guess what? They take up the majority of our mind. I'm going to say that again. The things that are infrequent and few and far between that are negative take up the majority of our mind. And the things that are abundant and giving and nurturing and positive take up almost none of our mind. This is crazy. Let me tell you something. The things that we say we get caught up in life about, the fight with our spouse, running late to a meeting, whatever it is, this isn't getting caught up in life. This is getting caught up in death. Getting caught up in life is getting caught up in the watermelon. Getting caught up in life is getting caught up in your breath. Getting caught up in life is getting caught up in every moment. Because trust me, one day there will be no more moments left. You see, when you adopt the mindset, not the practice, the mindset of gratitude in your life, you will never ever have a mental limitation. There'll never be a rock in a hard place. You will smile abundantly with self-love. You will persist and never have the case of the Mondays, and you will see the world with only optimism and faith. Napoleon Hill, my mentor, he spent time with the 500 plus more successful human beings who've ever walked this planet. He researched with them, he viewed them, and he synthesized their thoughts and their commonalities in the books and the works that we get the privilege of reading. On his day, I would like to add one more commonality. Do you know the number one commonality between every successful human being? Do you know what it is? Do you have any idea what it is? Let me tell you. Their heart beat, and they knew one day it wouldn't, so they made the most of their life in between. So let me ask you something. Do you have that exact same commonality? Does your heart beat? And what does that really even mean? If your heart beats, it means you are capable of every future possibility. If your heart beats, it means every opportunity is in front of you. Because guess what? If it didn't, you would have absolutely no opportunity in front of you. You would have absolutely no possibilities in front of you. The sheer fact that your heart beats means that you can be, do, and have everything that you ever desire. So, to conclude, on Napoleon Hill's birthday, on his day, let's not just celebrate it by talking about how amazing he is and the works that he's done. Let's make him proud. Let's take our magic pill and live in the nearly. Let's take the words that he has etched onto paper and make them come to life in your life. Thank you.
Again, I want to thank everyone for being here. I'd like to call out your names individually, but it's impossible. This concludes celebration of Napoleon Hill Day. And again, we'd like to thank all the people, the college, all of us involved. It's a lot of pieces falling together, and we had lots and lots of excellent help. This concludes. Those that got invited are invited to the dinner in Cantrell Hall following this. Thank you very much again for your attention and for being here.